the first presentation, the first presenter we have today is Roberta Bacic. She is a Chilean human rights activist, presently more involved in curating conflict textiles, and she got to know the WRI when there was dictatorship in Chile around, that was in 1973 and 1980, between 73 and 89, and she has also worked as a staff member in the London office at the WRI, and she currently lives in Northern Ireland, and she has been very generous to for the WRI even after she was working there. In March, I think she also shared a conflict textiles exhibition as part of the WRI 100 celebration. So I would like to invite Roberta to share your presentation for about 12 minutes, and then we will move on. And plus, before that, we have our very good friend Clara Diaz to interpret from English to Spanish. So thank you, Clara, for your support. So Roberta, please, I invite you to begin your presentation.
Hello to everybody. I'm sorry that the Zoom didn't work with my photograph, so I will use and open a file, and I'll talk to you a bit for a few minutes in connection to our exhibition today. Just to say that thinking last year when we were coming close, can you see can you see the screen well? Yeah. So last year I was thinking it's going to be 100 years.
Bueno, vamos a celebrar los 100 años. ¿Qué puedo hacer?
Not another thing to file, not another thing to archive, something that I could do as a present to War Resisters International to mark 100 years. So I decided to, because I don't believe in Christmas, I decided to use the week between Christmas and New Year to create an exhibition that would be for War Resisters International from the beginning of marking these 100 years, that would be through from March to December, and that then could be part of a permanent archive into the future when we are not here. So this is the exhibition. With all the information we did, I must really value the work and time put by Andrew and Natalia in all this process of documenting and trying to create something that could be shared with all your affiliates and associates, with all the pieces, and you have it also online. So that was my first thinking. And if you look at this presentation here today, it speaks of the conference, Nonviolence in Action Conference, 20 to 28th of November, and the plenary. And then you will find the flyers that we had, everything added. And from Monday on, you will also find my presentation. So these documents will stay as a contribution from us at Conflict Textiles, but specifically from me, because the experience to be with all of you at War Resisters has been very significant and life-changing. But as that we'll talk later, so I'll now share my PowerPoint that I prepared for today, that somehow I have here. Okay, so here we are. So the presentation for today, as I was invited to talk about nonviolent action in Chile. And it's through the nonviolent actions that we did in Chile that I got to meet Nancy Tate and Matt Meyer and Chris Nye and people from War Resisters International. So I will start with that. And to be able to put it in context, I decided to use pieces from our archive and our textiles, because one of my colleagues here in Northern Ireland did a broken rifle, an interpretation in textile version. So that's what you see here. And you see the red hands breaking it. So it's a reinterpretation of the broken rifle, thinking that the hands are full of blood. But on top of that, at the time I was in Mexico, and I met Igor there many years ago with the exhibition, I was given by an ex-combatant from Chiapas this little figurine that you see here, and that represents him when he was armed. But he gave up his guns and gave me as a symbol his figurine done by him. And then I put the symbol of war resisters between his two hands so that he would always keep it that way. So he has one of our badges and wears it permanently. He lives in the Basque Country, and we have incorporated this figurine into war resisters image. And then to put it in, located in time, I put that the invitation is to talk today in the context of nonviolent action. And then Andrew asked us for photographs, and he turned them into the poster that I thought it was very interesting how he made the thread to go. For us at Conflict Textiles, the thread, the stitch, the scrap is very important too. And I tend to say that I'm not a real activist because I have done activism out of despair of human rights violations more than any other way. I have done it more through my textiles, through my archival work. But going to Chile, I'm going to stop here with what I know really from my own experience and having been part of this movement, and a direct action in 1988 when I met Matt Meyer in Chile. And it's the movement against torture, Sebastian Acevedo. And this is an action we had in Santiago de Chile in the middle of dictatorship with this big banner saying torture in Chile, a shame, a worldwide shame. So we were there in action. You can see us, I am over there somehow here. And we decided to do it very publicly. And from that action, several of us were arrested, but we continued on a weekly way. And what was very important to us, that the movement decided to focus, the nonviolent movement of the group decided to focus on one issue in which we could get more allies. That means that many people who would not have our political ideas would agree that torture is not acceptable. If we go here, the collection has a textile that's called Movement Against Torture. And here it's an arpillera from 1979, in which we were just starting the movement. And you see the sun, the Chilean mountains, and the people in the shanty towns doing their own actions. So as we could do some actions in the city, some other actions were taking place here. If you click that, I'll put it as a PDF, you'll be able to click and go directly to the archive that will bring you to the complete narrative of the piece. I don't know where I went. Wow.
There's the icon of PowerPoint there, Roberta. Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'll have to start again. Resume. Okay, here we are. And with Natalia, we use this arpillera as the basis of the session we did in Spanish with the network in Colombia. So we have done sessions in Germany, in Colombia, in English in London, and other ones. So that's the way she chose that piece to be at the center. I don't know if Chris Nye is here today, but we also mentioned it last Sunday with the session with Joan Sheehan. The person who really created this movement and who did the ideology of nonviolent action was a Jesuit priest called Jose Aldunate. Then Chris Nye did his master's degree on studying this movement, and he really inactivated the idea of the liberation movements and the right to resist the dictatorship. In the discussions we had, there had to be one topic that would be general, and that was the one we chose, torture. Here you have another action, and the police very dramatically on us. And then here you have another arpillera, very important, done by the woman you see the photo, Violeta Morales, who was looking for her disappeared brother, Newton Morales. And she did all kinds of way of denouncing. One was the arpillera, the other way was by nonviolent action, but also by being part of a folk group that would have sung and would have done dancing of Cueca Sola in front of different public places. I couldn't not mention this piece that is different, but that is a piece that was donated to the collection by Joan Sheehan and show that in this network of nonviolence, the relationships between us, the networking and the support and exchange is the basis of the building of different ways to relate. In this arpillera, it's not a movement against torture, but it's a group of women who have come together to commemorate and to mark the disappearance of the disappeared ones, but they also represent and show that not only their relatives are disappeared, but the police is beating them at the time that they are commemorating. So you see the police car here throwing water cannons at them and the police with the batons. The non-violent movement was very strong that we shouldn't individualize the perpetrators. We should contest the institution that represses. That's why all the police has no eyes, but we, the people, have specific eyes. And then I thought it would be important to say that to mark also this relevant moment of 100 years, I commissioned an English arpillerista to make an arpillera about this 100 years. And she studied the website, she interviewed 2 people. She had already made a piece for our conference in Cape Town, and she made this beautiful arpillera with all the description of what war resistance is, what it stands for, and we decided the day it came by post to photograph it on the branch of a tree in our garden to show that this was made to be used in action. And in December, when we finish the celebrations, the idea is that we will donate this actual textile to the office at War Resisters so that you can have it as marking the 100 years, but also the use of textile language in which it's not only what you say, it's the hours of silent work to create, to put together the stories and to pass them on to other people. And I think I will leave it there with this nonviolence action and the online conference so that we have more time. I used the 10 minutes I was given so that we have more time for question and answers and maybe comments more than questions and engaging one with the other. Thank you, Subhash.